back and move on. So we get these out of the way so we can...
Okay, Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, Mr. Anderson's not here to present the item today, so I'm going to do it as best I can.
Okay, we will depend on you.
Bob, that's a good idea. You just do marijuana last week in the meeting on a high
That's a good one, dude.
Just trying to help you out for tomorrow.
Thank you.
The board asked for an update on one of the business assistance loans that our Economic Development Division made approximately a year ago to the Medici Logging Company. And so that's what I will endeavor to do here. In your packet, you've got a memo from Director Anderson that briefly summarizes the chronology of events with regard to that loan. The Medicis, as most know, is a logging company in the Westwood area who came to the county and made application for a business assistance loan in the amount of $350,000. That loan was approved by our loan committee a little over a year ago in February of 2014. The board subsequently approved it in March, and the loan was funded in April according to the terms of the approval. The payments began in July of 2014. 3 payments were made. Medici then defaulted on their loan terms on October 1st of 2014 and did not make the required payments. The county, in the meantime, had verified that the employees that were required to be retained were retained. That was done in September of 2014. So in January, the county received notice that both the Medici Logging Corporation, Medici Logging Inc., and its primary shareholders, Lisa Medici and Joseph and Jane Medici, both filed bankruptcy in December and January, respectively. So within council and my authority, we contracted with a special counsel, bankruptcy counsel, to assist in the collection of this loan through the bankruptcy process. That's what we've been doing for the last couple of months. And the collateral is, since the business is no longer operating, the collateral is what we can look to for repayment. When the loan was made, the county took essentially 3 different varieties of collateral, 2 involving the corporation, one involving the corporation, another involving Jack, 2 others involving Jack. The first being a second position in the Medici Logging Corporation equipment, second to the Reading Bank of Commerce, who also had a loan to the Medicis. That collateral, we don't expect much, if anything, from its liquidation because of the first position of the Reading Bank of Commerce is $870,000 or so, and we don't expect that equipment to generate that amount of money. They have sold, Reading Bank of Commerce has asked the bankruptcy court for a relief of stay of some of that equipment and have made a private party sale of $400,000 and some odd thousand of that equipment. They still have some equipment yet to sell of the Medici Inc. equipment. We don't think that it will be enough to retire Reading Bank of Commerce's entire loan and therefore have anything left over for us. Having said that, we have 2 other items of collateral. We have equipment that was owned by Jack Medici as an individual, 3 major pieces of equipment, which we have taken possession of. We have relocated to county facilities and requested and received a relief of the automatic stay order from the bankruptcy court to sell that equipment. Councilor Burns and I will be meeting later this week with an auction company to hopefully enter into an agreement to dispose of that equipment, and we expect to get some recovery out of that. Not enough probably to retire the loan, but maybe somewhere around $100,000. We also have a first deed of trust on Jack and Jane Menassee's, the Menasee Corporation logging yard in Westwood, which is a 22-acre parcel with some improvements and so forth on it. They valued it for the bankruptcy purposes, I think, between $200,000 and $250,000. And that, of course, is currently tied up in the bankruptcy proceedings. In order for us to foreclose on that, we'd have to do like we did with the equipment and obtain a relief of the automatic stay, foreclose on the property, and then if it wasn't purchased at the foreclosure sale, we would own it. We would sell. Alternatively to that, without getting into a great deal of strategy, that property has delinquent taxes on it, so it would be eligible for a tax sale in, if my math's correct, 2 or 3 years. And if we wait for that time, then the tax sale would go forward, taxes would be paid, and anything left over from the purchaser would go to towards the loan. We would be the first to be paid from proceeds in excess of what the taxes are. So I guess the good news, if there is any out of this, two pieces of, I think, good news. One, our staff did a really good job in documenting the requirements of the loan from a standpoint of job retention. And so that was done in September. We immediately notified the state that had been done. We received a letter. I don't think it's in your packet, but I've got it.
I'd like a copy of it.
Okay.
I like to see the letters.
Okay. In essence, with some disclaimer, says, you fulfilled your obligations with regard to this business assistance loan. And we can make copies of that letter. So what that means from a fiscal standpoint is that the money that we loaned to the Menassees was a grant from the state. Now, if we accept that grant and loan the money to Menassees and don't meet our obligations to the state, then we're obligated to repay to the state that grant. Since we've complied with the terms of that grant, we're not required to remit any money to the state. So it's not a general fund hit to the county.
So the state though is out for $350,000 or whatever it was. So as you recover these other assets, like the $100,000 from the equipment, the $19,000 that was paid back in those loan payments, and if eventually you get first in line to get recovered, theoretically there could be up to $350,000 that would be recovered. Does that go back to the state, or who gets that?
No, that money will
so
come back.
So you're getting to keep the state's.
That'll come back to the county, and it will be called, help me with the terminology, Jenna, but program income, which can be used for other CDBG eligible activities to be loaned out or granted, in this case maybe. But they're defined.
So we not only do not be on the hook for losing the $350,000, we actually gain upwards to $350,000 in program income.
That's possible.
Something doesn't seem right about that. I think that money should go back to the state to reimburse the state for what is now become their loss.
Well, I'm not
So you make money on their misfortune.
I am not going
Subject to an audit, a state audit.
I'm not going to try to explain the motives of the state, but what I do understand is that according to them, we have met the objectives of the grant. As crazy as that may seem.
Our staff did our job.
They did, but I just kind of see it. It just to me is odd how when something goes south, how you can get rewarded for it. Well, I mean, best you can hope is to break even.
There is not a high expectation of the state because of the nature of these loans. There's not a high expectation that these things are all going to repay because by and large they don't.
Well, if that's the
Say
case,
everything went great, we weren't having this discussion and we're making our payments back. Would we have to pay that money back to the state? It just stays within the county. So that makes, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense.
I mean, I follow what you're saying. I'm just saying is it doesn't seem kind of right to me. But
Well, don't you run in the normal way of doing business on the Right.
Maybe that's why the state of California is the way it is. I mean, it's like, where do you get standing line to get free money? I mean, instead of sending them my income tax payments like I had to do last week, maybe they should be sending me some income tax payments.
Try it.
See how that works out for you.
Yeah.
Just take it out of that fund.
Are there, I can go into any level of detail.
Yeah, of course, you do great. You have.
I just have one question. Richard, I see that they started this in the summer of 2010 and it took till the summer of 2014 to complete the loan.
I can't speak to that until about March 10th of 2014.